Well,
beneficial.
welcome back to the PT Graduate Podcast. My guest today is Mr. Ben Chidgey. G'day, Ben.
Hey mate, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good, great to see you. And looks like a stunning, beautiful day where you are. I've got no windows visible. You've got an amazing green backdrop behind you.
Yeah, mate, Titarangi at his best.
Yeah.
West is best.
So they say. So, Ben, tell us a little bit about what you do now, and then maybe we'll rewind the tape and sort of hear a little bit more about previous careers and what made you make the change into this amazing industry.
Yeah, so I'm currently PT at Mills New Lynn,
Mm.
and I've been there since September last year.
Yep.
So only recent, and I'm pretty chuffed with the way it's gone. Actually,
Cool.
I've yeah in that time I'm up to sort of around 30 clients.
Nice.
So I've built the business quite quickly, and that's been with some amazing support from Les Mills themselves.
Right.
It's a great place to work, lots of support, and
Mm.
I'm sure that everybody bangs the drum about their own gym, but Les Mills New Lynn, it's a really nice community gym. It's a great place to work and a great place to train. Really,
Okay.
there's no real egos. Everybody just cracks on with
Mm.
it,
Mm.
and there's a real wide range of athletes or gym goers or whatever you want to sort of be referred to. So
Mm.
yeah,
Mm.
so that's what I'm doing at the moment, and I guess I'm a bit of a generalist in the PT world. I've got a real wide range of clients from 70-year-old marathon runners to a couple of cardiac rehab patients.
Okay.
A couple of hip rehabs. Yeah, and then some sort of more athletic type characters.
Mm.
Whether
Mm.
it be high rocks or just sport half marathons, and then I've also got, which is sort of been an existing side of my business for a number of years, is the triathlon side of things. So
Right.
those people in sort of that endurance space, whether that be ultra marathons, triathlons themselves, Ironman, that sort of thing. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's where I'm sort of at the moment, but loving it at Les Mills New
Yeah.
Lynn. Yeah.
I tell you that list is quite a variety of different people to be working with. How have you found that coming into the industry reasonably new? Certainly new to the industry, but not new to working, but dealing with that variety because the initial training that you would get wouldn't necessarily address all of those different needs straight away.
No, absolutely. And so, I mean, I've come from an athletic background, so I've been generally working with athletes from the ages of sort of 10 to 50. Yeah. So I guess that age range has always been, I've been comfortable with, but it's always been to a sporting goal. Most of the 99% of my athletes were in a sort of reasonable, healthy condition. They'd come to me and they would already be able to run 5K. They'd
Mm.
already be able to do, a lot of things. Their movement would be good. They'd always have some form of work ons. But
Mm.
yeah, coming into PT, obviously I did my courses, which outlines those sort of general risks. But I guess the biggest thing that I've lent on is the fact that I am 45
Yeah.
and I've sort of dealt with whether it be family or friends, and seen a lot of whether it be health conditions or those sorts of things, and kind of lent really on my life experience.
Mm.
And then when it comes to sort of those more sort of trying or more complex, I refer back to people who know more than me,
Mm.
and keep it simple. So let's say my scoliosis patient, I
Yeah.
came to you and asked you
Yeah.
for a few hints and
Mm.
tips, and you gave me some sort of good little handouts that I worked on. But I
Mm.
guess the main thing that I've done with it is I keep it pretty simple, and that is very effective
Yeah.
because often there are some real, I guess, common themes in any health issue, and if
Mm.
you address those first, and then get to the more complex nuances of hips or that. And then also we're PTs, you know, we're not. I'm not trying to solve anything. Everybody's coming. Well, I'm not trying to diagnose anything.
Mm,
You
mm,
know, generally everybody that's coming to me, you know, has got, you know, has been already diagnosed, and I can just go into those, like pull those levers, whether it be someone like yourself or a PT manager,
mm.
and my life experience. And yeah, I'm really enjoying that side of things, because the results I'm getting from just some simple application of strength, mobility, stability, has been really good.
Yeah, yeah, I like it. I think keeping it simple is a good way to go, isn't it? And
Yeah, yeah,
you get a lot of wins that way, and then you can start, like you say, you can start digging into a nuance if you need to after
yeah,
you've ticked all those boxes. So yeah,
yeah,
nice, good
yeah.
stuff. So you're that world of triathlon has obviously helped serve you quite well, but you're still a practicing triathlete. You're still in that space.
Uh, yes, I am, and no, I'm not. So I certainly don't train as hard as I used to, and a lot of my training is very easy now. So I I run easy, I bike easy. I train quite hard in the gym. So
Yep. Yep.
really enjoy ceremony down at Les Mills and doing that sort of thing. And I'm doing a little bit of high rocks, but
Mm.
um, and just last weekend I actually competed at the Blue Lake Multisport Festival, and I was first old guy,
Ah, well
first
done.
vet across the line. But yeah, in terms of training and racing, I do it very much for the love. A few ultras here and there that I'd like
Yeah.
to try and maybe do. So some 50, 60,
Mm.
70K races
Mm.
I try to target, and like I'm doing high rocks again this weekend coming
Okay.
up,
Yeah.
which I'm really looking forward to, and that's something away from triathlon.
Mm.
But again, it's sort of running heavy, so
Yeah. Yeah.
biased. So,
Yes.
uh, and again, I've not really trained for that. I'm kind of specifically, I'm just really enjoying just
Mm.
doing general training, be generally fit, and then go
Mm.
away and do a
Mm.
race here and there. So,
Love it. Love
yeah,
it. Yeah,
yeah,
I like that approach. Um, yeah, you sort of got that base is
yeah,
always ticking, and then you can just specifically add on some training depending on what the event is that's
yeah, yeah.
coming. Yeah,
Exactly,
love it.
exactly, exactly,
Love it.
exactly.
Nice. Nice. That's good. I think that's a good example to your clients as well, isn't it? In terms of variety and being equipped to be able to go, right, I need to just do this to take myself to the next level here and adaptability and looking after that base level so you never drop to a level where you're sort of almost starting from scratch.
Yeah, I mean, I think conditioning or being resilient is the first step. You know,
Mm,
do
mm,
you have that baseline of of cardio, mobility, stability, and maintaining that? Because it doesn't take much to maintain that. You know, and you know, everybody's motivation dips and wanes now and again, but if you can have those habits where it doesn't disappear off. You know, I've got two or three athletes that I'm training at the moment, whose busiest time is Christmas. They
mm,
work in the rail, and there's lots of shutdowns.
mm,
And you know, I've been doing programming with them, and some of it's just, you know, I'll write 3 sessions and say do them in any order at any time. Logistics will always win over, you
mm,
know, the perfect program, and just try
mm.
and tick them off. And it might be 3 20-minute runs in the week, because they know that this 6 week period um, is where they earn the money, feed the
Yeah,
family, do all
yeah.
those sorts of things, and then they can sort of you know, once that sort of dies down, they can get back into their training, but just
Mm.
try and keep, you know, and it's good for the mental space as well. You know, we track HRV, which is a
Yep.
quite a good
Yep.
indicator of stress and health. And you know,
Mm.
in those periods, you just see it plummet. You know,
Yes.
real,
That's
and
right.
that's mainly down to stress, sleep,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
nutrition. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. That's a great metric to keep an eye on. It's nice and easy to track. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Garmin I use Training Peaks,
Yep. Yep.
and yeah, and just, you know, just it is a great metric
Mm.
at so many different levels. At the pointy end, when got elite athletes who are trying to get the best out of their key sessions, but then for the athletes that are just training and they're seeing that often when I get a new athlete and they kick off their HRV, you can just see this steady climb from just cardio, and they just and that's just the baseline of them getting fitter.
Okay. Yeah.
You can see that slowly going up.
Mm.
And
Mm.
then from there it generally levels out, and then you can see whether the stress is hitting or the sleep or so
Right. Right.
yeah
Right.
yeah yeah
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Great stuff. So why the change, Ben? What
yeah
motivated
yeah
you to shift? So tell us what you were doing before and why that shift.
yeah so I guess most of my career I've been electrician, and I built lifts and escalators as well, so that's for sort of my main part of my career. But when I left school, I actually wanted to be a physio, and I didn't quite get the grades. I was a little bit lost at sort of 17, 18. I went and started a sports science degree.
Right.
But in the sort of 90s, and I guess a little bit my ignorance, I couldn't really see, unless it was elite sport, a career path.
Mm.
And so I actually never finished that degree, which is something that is a bit of a bugbear. But and so I went into electrical apprenticeship. Started my own business was working in London. Started my own business in Manchester,
Mm.
and then it must have been sort of mid 2000s. Made the move over to New Zealand,
Hmm.
and was working in the lift industry and the escalator industry.
Mm.
And then in the last few years, I came off the tools and went into project management,
Right.
which
Right.
was a good and a bad thing. It's more money, etc., and that,
Mm.
but there was lots of the
Mm.
stress came with it.
Mm.
But alongside that, for those sort of 15, 20 years, I was coaching triathlon. So I
Right.
was
Right.
alongside that. So
Yeah.
I actually went to 3 days a week coaching at one stage. But the priority was always feeding the kids. I was the main breadwinner, putting a roof over our heads.
Mm.
And so that was my basic career. And then I guess early last year, I was working on the City Rail Link project,
Right.
and yeah, it was a pretty stressful time
Mm.
for me
Mm.
as a project manager,
Mm.
and I really had to make the decision. It was kind of made for me
Right.
with my sort of mental health and
Yep.
stress, that
Yep.
I needed to make a change, and that was not for the people that were working around me. I think it was a lot about the job itself. They
Mm.
always say in sport, control the controllables. I
Mm.
wasn't
Mm.
very good at that. I couldn't get over the things that I couldn't control,
Yeah.
and so those stress levels built up. And we had a big family meeting, and my wife said, "No, if you want to do, what you want to do, we'll cut back the mortgage and we'll cut back this." And so I quit my job and I went off to get my formal qualification to become a PT, because
Mm.
that was the one thing that I thought I'm good at. I know I'm good at
Yeah.
coaching.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I enjoy talking and dealing with people, and I need to make that move for the family. The kids don't want to have a grumpy dad the rest of their life. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's what I did, and
Good on you.
not looked back yet. So
Good on you. Good on you. I suppose it was the other thing that you knew a lot about and that you were good at. It was already there.
yeah,
You sort of left it behind, but it must have just been, always just sort of itching away at the back of your head. When will that opportunity arise again where I can get back into it? So you did it. Nice one.
yeah, yeah. And I think, like you say, there's a lot of pride, in what what most people do,
Mm.
and I'm walking away from something is incredibly difficult. It's as hard as walking to something. I think
Mm. Mm.
walking to something is almost easier because there's that motivation. Whereas walking away from something, there's always reasons why you shouldn't. You know, the mortgage, the job, the
Yeah.
relationships you have with people. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's quite a tricky and big decision. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's one of those, there's a lot of faith involved, in terms of taking that leap. And it's you don't really know until you get there, do you? But
no,
I think there were a number of known quantities, right? Like you talked earlier about that life experience in the gym with the people that you've got with a real vast array of different challenges. But because you've come up against things in previous roles where those situations have presented themselves to you in different forms, you've known how to handle them, you've known how to be pragmatic and all those other things. And so I think that sort of career change in midlife, you're equipped with a lot of those soft skills that are so transferable to this industry.
yeah, yeah. I think term soft skills is something that um, I've done, before PT, done quite a lot of coaching courses, and whether it be dealing with kids, or I did a lot of junior and coaching courses, etc. And those soft
Mm.
skills are super important, but I think you just get them naturally as you get older. Like you say,
Mm. Mm.
they're honed, for making relationships, talking to people, and then, like you say, PT, I'd say even more so over what I would call sort of general sports coaching, because there's not that defined goal, or the goal in PT has to be defined by you and the client, or you and the athlete, as opposed to when you're sports coaching. Those goals seem a little bit more
Mm.
pre what's the word, not predisposed, but already there.
Yeah.
And I think having those relationships and those conversations to eke out what that person wants and how they want it delivered, because I think you do get a lot more freedom in PT on how you deliver and what they want.
Mm.
In Les Mills, you've got to have it like a bit of a cheesy tagline underneath your name,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I was stressing about that when I first started. But one of the things that I when I wrote it was that it was love what you do, and I actually, because kind of, it's, even though it was a cheesy tagline, I actually do stick by that, in terms of I never ask my clients to do something that um, they don't want to do.
Mm.
If they don't want to do it,
Mm.
then they probably won't stick at it. And that's, I guess, one of those things that I've one of my biggest learnings from going from coaching to PT was that sort of change of give the client what they want, but actually it's give the client what they want so that they will succeed. And I'm not saying that, on the fifth rep of 80 pull-ups or whatever it might be, that
Yeah.
they're going to be loving it, but
Yeah.
that in general they're going to be loving the training. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And there are ways of achieving the same goal through many different routes, aren't there?
yeah, yeah,
There's not one path. So, helping people find the thing they love is one of the key ingredients to a good relationship with clients. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And that's why, um, you'll get a client and a PT fit. That the same client, or same clients will go to two different PTs, and they'll deliver something completely different that might end up with the same result, but go a completely different path. And
Mm.
it's that path that the client will align with. Whether they want to go on that journey with you that way, or whether they want to go with the other PT that's going that way.
Yep.
It's like you say, there's so many different ways to skin a cat, and that's
Mm.
why the industry's so cool, because there isn't a set way. There's obviously principles and fundamentals that
Mm.
we all stick by,
Mm.
but there's so many different ways, so many different personalities, and then out there's so many different clients and so many different personalities, and there's a fit
Yeah.
for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. There absolutely is. Yeah, it's amazing when you turn up to conference and there's sort of 500, 600 plus people in the room. You're like, what? Everyone does the same thing here?
Yeah, yeah,
It almost doesn't seem believable. But of course, even New Zealand's got a tiny population, but there is room for everybody, and that pie that we're all working in is
yeah,
growing, right? So
yeah,
if that's still the case, then our percentage take from that is growing. So
Yeah,
I think Richard talked about that at conference about economically, our industry is doing really well compared to others and compared to the way the economy is going.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, it's finding that piece of it that works for you and your clients and just sort of sticking to it and doing it really well.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So how do you see it evolving, Ben? Because I mean, it's early days, but you've come out of the blocks at speed, and you've obviously made huge progress in a short amount of time. Where do you see the business going?
Yeah, so I'm the more I've been doing PT, the more I enjoy my one-on-one sessions. Um, and so I really want to grow that side of it, the hands-on side. I know that a lot of people economically can make a lot of money out of programming, etc. But I really enjoy the one-on-one side. So that's what I want to grow. I want to see people, deal with people, and hours in the gym, which is maybe not necessarily economically the into the business, because obviously you can only see one person at a time.
Mm, mm,
But that's what I enjoy, and that's what I'd like to fill first. And then I guess on the programming side of things, my triathlon side is going well, and that's the most in terms of programming and dealing with my online clients. I like to have contact time. I like to edit programs weekly, and so in that triathlon endurance space, I'm really comfortable doing that. That's what I enjoy. The thing I guess I struggle with that I enjoy less, and I think it's because the impact is less, is the programming, and I guess it's because of a lack of contact time on the PT or the weight loss or the that side of it.
mm.
I much prefer, and I encourage my clients to, even if it's like a once a month PT session or once a fortnight PT session alongside a program. That's what I much prefer. The whole full remote thing, I find a little bit harder to build a
Mm,
relationship with,
mm, mm.
and I do enjoy that relationship side of things where you build level of trust, accountability, those sorts of things. Yeah, more than just pump out a program, set
Yeah, yeah,
volume, go away, do it. Oh, I've got better.
yeah.
It's I guess I get less reward from that. So
Sure,
yeah, yeah.
sure.
So certainly building up the one-on-one side.
Yeah, yeah. It's good to tune into the things that you enjoy the most, right? I mean,
Yeah,
we don't always stop and reflect, but finding the clients that really sort of help lift your energy and you have the best working relationship with, those are the ones that you kind of go, yes, this is me, this is my niche, these are the
yeah,
people I want to go and chase.
yeah. And I think that's what I've always known that I've enjoyed coaching, like as in just the big coaching, and I've realized more and more that it is not about the sport or the nuance within it. It's about, can I help that person achieve
Mm,
what they want? And that's the biggest buzz I get, whether that be being able to do 8 press ups or run an Ironman. I get the same sort of type of enjoyment from it, because when those people are switched on and really motivating, there's nothing better than being
mm,
on that sort of journey with them.
mm,
So, and
mm.
that's where I guess I've picked up quite a lot of general, or a wide range of clients, because I've not really I'm not really too fussed about. I had it in my head, I want 30 to 50 males, who want an endurance goal. That was kind of my niche at the start.
Yeah.
Um, I think I might have like 3 or 4, you of that, and then the
Yeah.
rest are just everybody,
Mm,
So
mm.
it's a women dominant gym, Les Mills New Lynn.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've got a lot of women, and that's where I've had to learn quite quickly. So one of my biggest sort of learnings at the moment is menstrual cycle and
Yeah.
periodization.
Yeah.
So I've really changed my periodization for women completely.
Okay. Mm,
I,
mm.
I used to do, your 3 weeks on, 1 week off, and where it fell didn't really
Mm.
matter. It was just, and I wouldn't ask any questions about cycles and
Mm.
when they're coming on and off. And yeah, obviously there's more and more literature out there, and I'm not an expert by any means, but even just those slight tweaks I've done in terms of my weekly periodization
Mm.
and taking advantage of a couple of weeks where the hormones are pumping and they're really going for it. And we've a couple of women that I train, they've hit PBs, and I think it's probably just that
Mm.
that one tweak of, okay, we'll go for our tests at this time of
Yeah.
the month, and
Yeah.
and they're pumping and going, oh, I've just lifted 20 kgs, 30 kgs more, and we've not really changed that much.
Wow.
So that's
Wow.
that's been my biggest learning,
Mm.
and I'm quite keen to learn more because yeah, and I'm being a bloke, you know,
Yeah.
it really is either somebody telling me or we've not lived and breathed it like the female PTs, that will all have that sort of better understanding than us blokes,
Mm.
So, yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Mm. Good on you. That's smart. And just sort of shows your passion for learning and the fact that, to be good at whatever it is you're doing, it takes a little bit of extra investigating, a little bit of extra knowledge, a little bit of extra time to really find out, the nuances of what's affecting your clients. And
yeah,
that's a perfect example. So good on you for, just being that proactive.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's good. It's
it's
good.
great. Yeah, good on you. So it's probably around the time that I start asking for tips, Ben, getting into the juicy bits that people really want to find out. And you've dropped some nice ones, and I think, there's always room for a couple more at the end. So the good thing is, no pressure, no pressure.
Yeah, yeah,
It can be personal, it can be business, it can be technical. Really
yeah,
doesn't matter what it is, but it's more about what things have worked for you, what things do you stand by because they're part of
yeah,
your routine or the way
yeah,
you operate, those sorts of things. So
yeah, yeah.
that'll
Okay.
be good.
Well, I guess my first tip, and I've mentioned it before, is whatever you're doing, make sure you enjoy it. Yeah, that's and that might be the case of not if you don't want to lie down, you don't like getting up and down, you're doing everything stood up or sat down in those. So that can change a workout dramatically. So I'd say that. So do what if you don't like an exercise, find an alternative. And
Mm, mm,
that's a big thing because there's a million and one alternatives out there. And then secondly, from that, I would say, and this is the biggest one that I learned when I did my first coaching course. John Hellemans, who's a big coach in New Zealand, triathlon coach, and one
mm,
of the first things that he said was, find your source of truth and stick with it
mm,
because if especially with the Instagram and Facebook, etc., your head can be turned left, right, and center in terms of what you're meant to be doing. But just find that one person that you trust. That doesn't need to be a PT, but it could be a book, it could be a philosophy, and stick with that because yeah, it will water down the things that if you take one thing from one place and one thing from another, and you end up not really getting anywhere.
yeah.
Whereas sticking to a philosophy or a training program or a coach or whatever that will really stand you in good stead and keep you focused. Because I think that there's a lot of self-doubt out there because everybody's saying this is the one thing that you need to do. Actually, that's
Yeah.
probably the best tip is if somebody says this is the one thing you need to do,
Don't.
ignore it.
I like it.
Yeah, yeah, that's my one tip. Yeah. If there's one thing you need to do is not listen to the person that says there's one thing you need
I
to
like it. Yeah. There's so much truth in that, though. It's like the one thing that they've chosen is so that you click and listen
Yeah,
and listen to their diatribe, which has no how-tos,
yeah,
no answers, just questions.
yes, yeah,
And then you get sucked into their vortex. And like you say, you're then shifting away from that truth that you talked
yeah,
about before. So
yeah.
I think that's really sage advice. It really is.
Yeah.
Mm. Cool.
I guess I don't know sort of technical side of what sort of technical side of tips I do. I mean, I guess I really enjoy working with experienced athletes. Is like one of the things I really enjoy, and um, I guess when an experienced athlete comes to you, I guess listening to them and how they do things and what they do, and then and I got this from swimming
Mm.
especially, is that um, the changes you make will always be really small, and then you can implement that change. That wholesale change from, especially on the experience side of things, generally won't work. If you try and pull apart someone's running pattern, they'll blow their calves up in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It might not even be a running pattern change. It might be a strength change that you hopefully will see some form of success in their
Mm.
motor patterning.
Mm.
But yeah, I think small changes for experienced athletes is there's certainly the way to go on that side, the technical side of things.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Cool. Um, Ben, if people are wanting to chat to you because you've done something that they might be thinking about doing themselves
Yep.
or have done but still want some support, how can they find you? Where's the best place to?
But the best place is probably on Instagram. So I'm
Oh
on.
yeah, yep.
I will have a website that I've been put up and put down the last few times because I am a procrastinator on when it comes to digital technology.
Yeah.
But I'm Ben at 3pt dot coach. Is my and yeah, that's the website is www.3pt.coach. So that is
Okay.
my business, and you can get hold of me on Facebook or Instagram, which is generally where most people will go these days.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you, Ben. It's been great chatting and picking your brains, and it will definitely be going out live in a few weeks, and I will be sharing it with you.
The cutting room floor is probably where I
No,
thought
no,
you'd go.
definitely not. Definitely not. I don't think I even need to edit.
Awesome. Thanks, Rich.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.